A police officer, completely unaware of the truth, recklessly shot a young black man's beloved German Shepherd, without any reason at all. But what he didn't realize, the boy's father was an FBI agent. And what followed next? It's something you won't believe. The afternoon sun cast a golden glow across the quiet suburban street as 18-year-old Marcus Daniels stepped outside, his heart brimming with joy. Today felt different, special. The warmth of the sun mirrored the excitement bubbling within him. But what truly made this day unforgettable was the presence of Max, his newly gifted German Shepherd, trotting proudly at his side. Max was no ordinary dog. His sleek black and tan coat gleamed under the sunlight, his alert ears twitched at every sound, and his strong, confident steps mirrored the unwavering loyalty he already had for Marcus. The bond between them had formed quickly, and in just a few days, Marcus had trained him with patience and love. This wasn't just any pet. Max was a symbol of a new chapter in Marcus's life, a gift from his father to mark his transition into adulthood. As Marcus strolled through the neighborhood, gripping Max's leash firmly, yet gently, a sense of pride swelled in his chest. He had spent countless hours teaching Max commands, rewarding him for his intelligence and discipline. The way passers-by stole admiring glances at Max only deepened that pride. Some even stopped to comment on how magnificent the dog looked. Marcus would simply smile, nodding in appreciation, feeling like the luckiest person in the world. But that feeling didn't last. The peaceful walk was disrupted by the slow, deliberate approach of a police cruiser. The black and white vehicle rolled up beside Marcus, its tires crunching softly against the pavement. His steps hesitated as the car came to a stop. The driver's door creaked open, and out stepped Officer Ray Thompson. Marcus knew of Officer Thompson. Everyone in the neighborhood did. His name carried a weight of unease, whispered in hushed tones. Arrogant, prejudiced, and feared, his reputation preceded him. Now, standing just a few feet away, the officer's presence was enough to send a chill through Marcus's spine. For a long, unsettling moment, Officer Thompson simply stared, his sharp gaze fixed on Max. His eyes narrowed slightly, as though he were evaluating something of great value. Marcus shifted on his feet, sensing the tension but staying still, waiting for the officer to speak. Then, with a smirk curling at the corners of his mouth, Thompson finally broke the silence. His tone was casual, yet laced with something sinister. "Nice dog," he remarked, tilting his head. "Who does he belong to? Someone pay you to walk him?" Marcus blinked, his brows furrowing slightly. "Did he hear that right?" "Nobody's paying me," he responded, keeping his voice even and respectful. "He's mine." A mocking chuckle escaped the officer's lips. His arms folded across his chest as he repeated the question, this time with an air of disbelief. "You expect me to believe that? A dog like this? You're telling me you own him?" Marcus's grip on the leash tightened instinctively. His excitement from earlier had evaporated, replaced by a sinking feeling of discomfort. He stood his ground. "Yes, sir," he said firmly. "Max is my dog. A gift from my dad." The amusement drained from Officer Thompson's face instantly. His expression hardened, his lips pressing into a thin line. The air around them thickened with suspicion. "Your dad?" The officer took a step closer, his eyes dark and unreadable. "So, what, you stole him then?" Marcus's heart pounded. The accusation sent a wave of disbelief crashing over him. "No," he said quickly, shaking his head. "I didn't steal him. He's mine. I swear." Officer Thompson's stance grew more aggressive. His jaw clenched, his posture rigid. He wanted proof. Marcus, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him, crouched beside Max. If the officer needed evidence, he would show him. "Max, sit." With precise obedience, the dog responded instantly, his tail wagging as he waited for the next command. "Max, speak." A single, sharp bark echoed through the street. That was all it took. The officer's hand flew to his holster. In one swift motion, he drew his gun, aiming it directly at Max. His voice snapped with sudden alarm. "Back off. You trying to sick that dog on me?" Marcus's eyes widened in shock.
No.
No, you don't understand, he shouted, panic creeping into his voice. That's not what I... But the officer wasn't listening. Max, sensing Marcus's fear, barked again, this time louder, more urgent. The dog's body tensed, reacting to his owner's distress. Max, stop. Marcus pleaded, yanking on the leash, his voice trembling. Please, he's not attacking. He's just... The gunshot rang out. The world seemed to slow. Marcus's breath caught in his throat as he watched Max collapse, his strong body crumpling to the pavement. The leash slipped from Marcus's shaking hands as he dropped to his knees, his chest tightening with grief. Max. His voice cracked, raw and desperate. The German shepherd's breaths grew shallow, his once bright eyes fading. Marcus's hands trembled as he cradled Max's head, his fingers stroking the soft fur that was now stained with loss. Tears streamed down his face. I'm so sorry, he whispered, his sobs choking him. I'm so sorry. A cold, unfeeling voice cut through the devastation. You tried to make that dog attack me, Officer Thompson declared, his words void of remorse. You're under arrest. Marcus barely heard him. He barely felt the officer's rough grip as his arms were yanked behind his back. The cold steel of handcuffs snapped around his wrists, but all he could do was stare at Max, his best friend, lying motionless on the street. The world had never felt so silent. As the police cruiser pulled away, Marcus's body trembled with grief. His muffled sobs filled the confined space, but nothing could silence the unbearable truth. Max was gone. And there was nothing he could do. At the station, Marcus sat in a dimly lit holding room, his hands resting on the metal table. His wrists ached from the tightness of the cuffs, but the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony clawing at his chest. His mind replayed the moment over and over. The shot, the fall, the light fading from Max's eyes. It felt like a cruel nightmare, but no matter how hard he wished, he knew there was no waking up from this. And Officer Thompson had no idea. Marcus's father was coming. And when he did,